Good afternoon, friends. One of the hot topics on social media this past Memorial Day weekend was the large amount of sargassum on the beaches along the Emerald Coast here. For many of you, it's new. Most of you who've lived around here and are local have seen this before and know all about it. But I thought it was time to come over and get an expert's opinion to kind of unpack this for you, the good, the bad, and how to live with sargassum along our beaches seasonally here. And with us to talk about that from the Escambia County Division of Natural Resources is Samantha Bolduc. Samantha, thank you.
Not a problem. Glad to be here.
What are the ABCs of sargassum grass? What should we know about it? And how do we live with it to our benefit?
So here in Escambia County and all along the Gulf Coast, we have a variety of seaweeds and algae that wash up on our beaches. Sargassum is one of them. You also might be familiar with the green June grass. So these are naturally occurring algae and plants and other marine life that wash up on our beaches, and they form the rack line. Now this rack line is very important. It's great foraging ground for our natural species, including our shorebirds, our variety of crabs, and other local coastal wildlife. And it can also be an important nutrient source on our beaches. So all of these are native, naturally occurring species. They are not the result of a red tide or an algae bloom or other cases that you may hear around the state. They are not harmful to humans or pets. We do ask that you exercise any normal caution you would when going to the beach, but they're really extremely beneficial for our local wildlife.
So talk about some of the benefits to the wildlife along our shores here from the sargassum and the June grass.
So when these seaweeds and algae wash up on shore, they often bring things with them. So small crabs, shrimps, crustaceans can wash up in the seagrass with them. And this is great foraging material for our local wildlife. So whether it's a shorebird, a raccoon, other wildlife that we have on our beaches, our ghost crabs, they use this rack, this seaweed and algae, as an important food source in the summertime. Beaches are typically very nutrient poor. There's not a lot of things on them, not a lot of vegetation. So when the seaweed washes up, this is kind of like a buffet for all of our wildlife.
So people have said here recently, I was noticing this on some of the local social media, about one of the benefits could be to bag it up and take it home and use it in your home garden. How do you respond to that?
I wouldn't recommend it. I would definitely check with your local botanist or master gardener, but this is marine vegetation, so it is quite salty. So taking it and bagging it up and putting it home probably won't do your garden any good. Additionally, this stuff has great local benefit on our beaches, so we really want it to stay on the beaches as much as possible.
There's no harm, apparently, in sort of raking it up if you're down there with your canopy and your umbrellas to clear away to the water.
If you would like to clear a small footpath to the water, that's certainly fine. We do ask that if you're a property manager or a beach vendor, that you leave it in place for the first couple days. And then once it starts to dry out and maybe it starts to smell a little bit, to then place it up at the toe of the dune or to bury it to keep those nutrients where they belong.
How long does the seasonality last for this material?
It can depend on our local weather and storms and what we're having out in the Gulf. We've seen a lot of heavy wave action here in Escambia County, probably all along the Gulf Coast. So we've seen a lot of sargassum, very recently. It will eventually ebb out with the tide or it will break down. But typically we're going to see the highest concentrations in the early part of the summer. Now, if we have a very active hurricane or storm season, we could see additional seaweed wash up on shore.
We're with Samantha Bolduc of Escambia County Natural Resources talking about seagrass, sargassum, how to learn to live with it, what to do with it, what not to do with it, and how to appreciate the benefits it brings to the shorebirds and the wildlife and the natural habitat along the beach. I'm John Singley from Escambia County's Central Office Complex. Thank you for being with us.